All right, so welcome everybody to the Peak Retail Season 2021 Holiday Readiness webinar. We are about to get started. All right, so today I have actually introduced myself first. I'm Amanda, the head of customer experience and success at PPC Samurai. And today I am joined by Sunny Lowe, who's a strategic partner manager at Google, and Shaun Bond, the CEO of PPC Samurai. We also have Tom, our global marketing manager at PPC Samurai, on the line to help answer questions and manage the Q&A. So objectives for today, we want to equip you with holiday insights and trends so you can pass on to your clients as you get ready for the peak retail season. It's going to be awesome this year, so we've got some great insights to walk you through. And then we'll also provide you with a checklist for getting ready and what to do during the peak holiday period. So just a quick agenda. We'll go through the trends and insights for the holiday season to start, and then take you through the holiday season preparation guide, and then we've got a Q&A at the end as well. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So we've got the Q&A button as part of the webinar functionality. So feel free to ask any questions as we go, and we'll either answer them live or answer them at the end of the section. We can also type responses back in as well. So we might be doing a bit of that. We've also got some resources to share with you afterwards. So we're going to be recording this webinar, and we'll share the recording and the presentation afterwards. In the webinar, we've gone kind of global with our holiday trends and insights, but we also have region-specific trends and insights that we can share for the UK, the US, and the Australian, New Zealand regions. So if you're interested in receiving any of those, pop them into the Q&A, or for those that are watching the recorded version later, feel free to email us with a request for those, and we'll send them through. And if you have any question, any regions outside of those that you would like to receive specific insights for, let us know, and we'll see if we've got that data available for you. So without further ado, I will hand over to Sunny to take us through trends and insights for the upcoming holiday season.
Thank you, Amanda, and hello, everyone. My name is Sunny, and I'm a partner manager at Google. I work with partners like PPC Samurai to build automation platforms to help our agencies and our advertisers maximize their performance and also achieve the highest ROAS. So it is my honor to be here sharing with you what do we need to prepare for this upcoming holiday season. A little bit about myself. I've been with Google for 9 years now and have had experience in both the Google Ads and Google Cloud side. I'm currently based in Sydney, Australia, and have worked in multiple Asia Pacific markets. So I know that we're all preparing for the upcoming holiday seasons, and what we learned from last year is definitely like a lot of things have moved online, and there are new trends and insights being set. I thought it would be a good idea to start my presentation by sharing with you some of the insights and trends that we at Google have learned from last year. So shall we go on to the first one, Amanda? Yeah, so the first insight that we have is that similar to 2020, the holiday shopping starts very early. Next slide, please. Yeah. So looking back at 2020, which is not too long ago, I believe, we saw that consumers started their holiday shopping earlier than ever. Likely due to the fear of shipping delays. I'm sure some of you, like you might have also experienced some sort of like inconvenience due to shopping delays. So We've got some data from Salesforce, and they have released some interesting data on the year-over-year change in the revenue by before Cyber Week. And what we saw was that we actually saw the highest year-over-year growth at 83% in the week before Cyber Week, which is the pre-Cyber Week period. If we go on to the next slide. Yeah, so we continue with this trend from the last holiday season. We see that nearly half of all holiday spend occurred by the end of Cyber Week. And there's a drop off in daily spend as we get onto September with a slight spike on Boxing Day. That means that we should no longer be eyeing over the pre-Christmas, Christmas, or Boxing Day week, as we want to be the early bird in this game. Next slide, please. So let's pivot to 2021. And what we know about shoppers that we have surveyed and asked. So at Google, we partnered with Ipsos and did a survey across a number of markets of consumer behavior and attitudes. So in mid-June, we asked whether folks have started their holiday shopping for 2021 already. And the results are nearly a third of Americans and Australians reported that they have already got a head start on their holiday shopping. Whereas in the UK and Canadian numbers are still pretty high as well, nearly a quarter of Brits and 1 in 5 Canadians have also started their holiday shopping. So we've been talking about early shoppers, but also let's not forget about the late shoppers like myself. And one indication that we look into late shoppers are on the searches for gift cards. When we explore gift card searches, we see a predictable path for search volume that has been increasing over the last few years. The year's highest search volume for gift cards happens on Christmas Eve, or December 24th, and in 2020, we saw record numbers of those searches. So I will speak for myself. I also bought some gift card on Christmas Eve or on the 23rd of Christmas because I realized there were some Christmas shopping that I forgot to do, and gift cards are definitely like somewhere to help you save the day. And in fact, brands are using both search and shopping ads to show up for these searches. Also, depending on your location, people might use terms like gift voucher, as is the case in the UK and Australia. Gift certificate, the term gift certificate is which is more popular in the US, or the universally accepted gift card that you might want to use in your search terms. Therefore, be sure to show up however people are searching for your terms, especially late in the season. So this brings us to the second insight for 2021. Shoppers have more choice than ever before. Throughout the pandemic, you have probably heard the saying, 10 years of e-commerce growth over the course of 2 to 3 months, right? Every one of us have definitely heard of this notion. Well, which is very true, because consumers of all ages are increasingly comfortable discovering brands, navigating websites, and transacting online, more so than ever before. Think about yourself, your family members. You probably have experience and being more open to online or e-commerce in the last 6 to 9 months. That tells us the growth of e-commerce has broken down traditional barriers with in-store shopping, namely geographical barriers. Global cross-border online sales grew over 20% in the first half of 2020, and more than 50% of consumers indicated that they plan to do more cross-border online shopping in the future. What does it mean for you and your consumers? That the biggest mall in the world is actually online, and there are over 1 billion shopping moments taking place on Google every single day. We've seen a 70% growth in the Google product catalog, and that represents more than 24 billion SKUs. That sounds like a lot of choice for consumers. Next slide. And COVID-19 has also ushered in a new era of new brand trial driven by product shortages and also convenience. Things like fast shipping, available now, and etc. McKinsey came out with a study that showed 3 in 4 Americans changed brands during the pandemic. And actually, over the year into pandemic, shoppers are still trying new brands. In May 2021, we asked whether consumers have purchased at least one new brand in the past months. Over a third of people across all markets indicated they were still buying net new brands. Therefore, knowing that the biggest market now is online and the global geographical barrier for shopping has been removed, as we approach this coming holiday season, I imagine the curiosity of new brands and products will continue. Let's also look into the Google search data. What we refer here is the database for intention to see what's happening in branded and generic searches across markets. So here is the study. We are comparing the first half of 2021 to the first half of 2019. And we see that searches for brands in the US grew on average 6% for clothing and 5% for footwear. However, when we look at generic searches, we see they accelerated 3 times faster than branded searches. What does this indicate? This indicates that shoppers nowadays are looking for inspiration and guidance. They're typing in something like blazer or platform boots or sneakers without having a brand in mind, because they're waiting for what pops out on the search page or the shopping page and explore a new brand. So a recommendation for you is to make sure that you're showing up when shoppers are shopping for you. Let's bring it to the next insight, the shift from saving to spending. You've probably seen articles mentioning revenge spending across industries like shopping and travel, as some countries are emerging from lockdown and ready to get back to normal. After more than a year of reduced spending, in categories like dining out and travel, the general feeling is that folks want to socialize. We want to see our friends, we want to get together with folks, and we want to get out and we're ready to spend. So in many countries, the average savings rate have been at record highs due to stimulus checks and uncertainty delaying purchases. But what does it mean to us? Well, we go into the next slide. We ran a Google consumer survey in the US asking women from the age of 18 to 55 why they are planning to purchase new clothing in spring and summer season. If we look at the results, you can see a large share of people said that they're buying new clothes for everyday use. Well, I don't know about yourself, but like for me, myself, I've also spent the last year wearing like these handful of t-shirts and pants, and I really look forward to the day where I can wear something fancy. And in the psychological, and the academic world, they call this the social peacocking effect. When people get ready to get back out and also show off with new clothes, and maybe with a new haircuts as they socialize with friends, family, and colleagues. So the demand is definitely out there. We took the example of like the retail or clothing or the fashion industry, but if we look into across the board, we do see the effects across multiple industries. Next slide, please. Yeah, if we continue with the theme of shifting from saving to spending, you'll probably see news headlines like this showing all increase in travel demand. More than half of the consumers we surveyed said that they're also looking to travel even more when the pandemic is finally over. And the most eager generations are millennials and Gen Z, who represent over 155 million people in the US alone. And we specifically asked about this upcoming holiday season for travel And 4 in 10 across the UK, US, and Australia are planning to travel for an overnight visit. So depending on your brand and category, consider tying your ad messaging, upper funnel creative, or product assortment to these vacation goer, or what we see, these spenders who are ready to, these savers who are ready to spend again. And here's more data for those who love numbers. I'll let you have a quick look into that. So this is a report from Deloitte. They have recently published the net spending intention by country since the beginning of pandemic. They asked consumers how much they plan to spend by category over the upcoming 4 weeks. I pull out our top 4 English-speaking countries, and we can see that across the board, people in the US have indicated the greatest intentions to spend across all categories. And we go on to the next slide. This is especially striking when we compare to the time last year, the same time last year, and you can see the more discretionary items, which are on the right-hand side, are almost all negative. Therefore, we can see that there are definitely a recovery trends from where folks who went from saving on more discretionary items to now upcoming this year, they're more ready to spend, more ready to socialize again and get back to what we see the new normal. Let's go to the next insight, please.
Sonny, can I just interrupt? We've got a question here that I think is probably relevant for that.
Yeah, please.
Someone's asked, is it still recommended to use seasonality adjustments for peak days and periods?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question, Shaun. So we do have the seasonality adjustment that is available on the Google Ads functionality. However, what we have done so far as we evolve our technology and algorithm is that, which I will speak a little bit later in the later slides, is that one of our functionality with smart bidding will be able to cater for the seasonality adjustment that is required. Because what we have learned previously on the seasonality adjustment functionality, it's only good for 5 to 7 days spikes. However, what we would recommend you all to start looking into the smart bidding opportunities, such as maximize conversion value, target ROAS kind of bidding strategies. These are already designed to cater for any spikes or any changes or any fluctuation when it comes to seasonalities. And from our experience at Google, we have seen that using smart bidding automation solutions has a much more better results than just adjusting for seasonality for a couple of days. One of the striking reasons is that seasonality changes are based on historical trends. However, what we've experienced and what I've just shared with the last couple of insights is that these years, in 2020 and 2021, the trends and insights have changed a lot, and they have changed really quickly as well. So what we might have in mind using the seasonality adjustment might be applicable for the last couple of years, but when we are forecasting and preparing for 2021, we would suggest using an even more dynamic approach, and our algorithm has improved to be able to cater for that. Thank you, Shaun. I hope it answers the questions. Perfect. Yeah, well, so let's go back to the insight piece. So I would love to share the fourth insights that we have is that Omnichannel's returns in 2021. So as COVID restrictions start to ease in some countries, stores can once again open their doors to shoppers. We asked where shoppers are purchasing clothing, outerwear, and footwear category, and saw across markets that both or omnichannel represent a sizable number of shoppers. Target, a US retailer, released a study that found that omnichannel or multiple channel shoppers spend 4 times more than store-only shoppers. Therefore, this group of consumers are very valuable to retailers. And we also try to predict which COVID behavior are sticky and will continue and even after recovery. So curbside pickup is one such trend in North America. 38% of North American consumers share that they plan to continue to use this service, the same share that reported using it during the pandemic times. And who can blame them, right? Curbside pickup is very convenient and brings the ease of digital shopping together with the immediacy of in-store purchases. And if you offer buy online, pickup online, pickup in store, which is BOPIS, buy online, pickup in store options, I recommend you to include these information in your search ads via the headlines, the extensions, or the ad text itself, so that your shopper will know and also will be able to decide how they want to fulfill their orders. Another sticky behavior that we saw accelerate during COVID is buy now, pay later. These are especially popular payment methods for Gen Z and millennials. If we would click again, yeah, here we go. So in fact, when we actually look into the global search interest for some of the popular buy now, pay later brands, we see them spike during the Cyber Week of 2020. Most likely as shoppers are looking to finance their holiday purchases. So what does that mean for us? So again, if you offer these payment methods and your products are either geared towards a younger demographic or on the pricier end, consider building call outs or side links into your search ads or to preempt any concerns about available payments methods or the price of your products. So I've put a few examples here. Hoka, which is a shoe brand, and Sephora, the makeup brand, or beauty and makeup brand, they both highlight pay over the buy now, pay later options or shop now, pay later options on their search ads on both the headlines as well as their site links. And I also like to call out from an app from Australia. If you think about, like, I really like how the way that this surfboard company made their the buy now, pay later relevant to the category. They actually call it surf now and pay later. So to be creative, think about, like, what is relevant to you. Like, think about what are the sticky behavior that is happening in your particular market, and be a little bit creative and playful around how you want to make your brand stand out among your competitors. And next slide, please. Yeah, and across markets, obviously different factors play into the ultimate purchase decision for consumers, right? So we look into what are the strongest purchase drivers for consumers. Universally, free shipping gets a top spot, but you can see differences among countries when we look at other drivers. For example, coupons and discounts are more popular with North American shoppers, while next day delivery is especially important for UK shoppers. Click and collect is particularly popular in both the UK and Australia, while loyalty programs are rated most highly in Canada. So all that to say, together what we learned about, like, the stickiness of new trends and also what are the purchase drivers, make sure your ads highlight the right purchase drivers for each market where you are active and you want to succeed. So this is the 4 insights that we've got. And hopefully these 4 insights will help you prepare a little bit for your upcoming holiday season.
Thanks, Sunny. I think those 4 insights were really interesting, and I think it's going to be an interesting journey over the next couple of months. We're predicting, obviously, that pre-Christmas is going to be big. What can we expect for January?
Yeah, well, thank you, Amanda. Well, this actually brings me to the last insights. Thank you for asking. Because, like, the last insight that we've got is that search volume in January is just as high as in the holiday season. Let's look into some of the data, right? So what we're seeing year after year is different to believe. Online demand stays strong even at the beginning of the new year. If we look at that the search demand in January, it is only 1% lower than the Q4 monthly average, and it's higher than December itself. And at the same time, CPCs, cost per clicks, are even lower in the retail category. So essentially, search is on sale at this time in January. So in short, we see the most successful retailers are those who leverage automation, smart shopping, and smart bidding that I just talked about, and with an open budget headroom to capture and respond to variable demands. Because like seasonality is changing, trends are still changing, and we're just predicting here what we think will be applicable in January, right? So we have some of the tools where I talk a little bit about smart bidding, and we talk a little bit about smart shopping. These are some of the tools and algorithms, automation algorithms that Google has been continuing to enhance to make sure that we are able to adjust and cope for the upcoming change in seasonality. And last but not least, to help you and your customers understand the opportunity, we also have an external tool, which is called the Retail Insight Tools. I'll put the link down here to show you where the demands are in real time. So I hope these 5 insights that I've shared with you, as well as like the Retail Insights tools, will be useful to help you prepare for the holiday season, as well as the upcoming January session. And to quickly recap, the 5 insights are: number 1, shoppers starts early. Number 2, shoppers now have more choices than before. 3, they're now shifting from saving to spending. 4, omnichannel leads the way. And finally, search volume will still remain high in January. So thank you so much for listening to the 5 insights, and I hope these will help you draft and craft your strategy for the upcoming months.
Thanks, Sunny. That was wonderful. So now that we've got an idea of what to expect in the coming months, let's get into some specifics around how we can best prepare to make the most of what promises to be an epic holiday season. So to start, Sunny, back to you again. But is there a timeline to prepare for peak season?
Yeah, well, thank you, Amanda. Well, the time is now, right? Like, we are now in mid of September, and the holiday season is just a couple months away. Like, and as I shared the first trend, most of the planning and the budgets are spent way before Christmas week. It is the pre-Cyber Week that we are looking into, where folks are really starting to start spending, and they really want to shop early as well. So let's bring it to this practical guide of where we can see ourselves and prepare ourselves for success in this holiday season. So by now, when we started step 0, by now I believe you all would have a very, very clear understanding of your customers' marketing objective. You know what they're trying to drive sales over the holiday season. You know what they're trying to achieve. We know what are some of their products that they really want to launch as hero products in this upcoming season. So let's move on to step 1 to 3, which is the timeline is now, which is September, mid of September that we are here right now. And let's start with number 1, and I'll definitely go back to you, Amanda, for some recommendations on what we can do on the PPC Samurai platform. So what we would love to start right now is to make sure that if we have a shopping campaign, we would love to look into the feed itself. Have it been have the feeds been optimized in a very healthy way? Do we have all the attributions, like the product size and all the attributions accurate that really reflects what the product is? And shall we also look into the headlines of that particular product? Is it really reflecting what it is, and it really reflects what the consumers are looking for? So that was on the shopping feed itself. And for shopping and search, If you haven't done so, make sure you have also enabled your conversion tracking or the one Google tag. So to make sure that you also adopt the non-last click attribution to make sure that in terms of measurements, we are able to get the most accurate data from your current existing performance. What about on the
And
PPC Samurai side, Amanda? Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Sunny. I was just going to say for the PPC Samurai users here, just keep an eye on your hygiene alerts. PPC Samurai scans your accounts to look for attribution and specifically accounts that are using campaigns that are using last click attribution, and provides insights and alerts for just letting you know that you may want to have a look into those and adjust the attribution settings there. So keep an eye on the hygiene alerts over the next couple of weeks and months, and fix up any of those ones that are on last click when you may not want them to be.
Awesome, Amanda. So the first step is to make sure that everything's in check, because we want to make sure that we have all the signals are reporting in the right way. We have all the optimization, all the hygienes checked before we move to step 2. Because step 2 for search and shopping, we would start recommending to enable value-based bidding, which is the target ROAS bidding strategy and maximize conversions value bidding strategy onto both your search and shopping campaigns. It's because these two automated smart bidding options really works well when we have the right data, when we have the right conversion tracking, when we have the non-last click attribution. So once we have completed step 1, the next step obviously is to enable the smart bidding strategies onto your campaign and allow our algorithms to start running the machine learning process. Do you want to talk a little bit more on the PPC Samurai platform, Amanda?
Yeah, so PPC Samurai has a suite of workflows called the Smart Bidding Workflows, and they provide you with recommendations on when you should update your bidding strategies, or what the most appropriate bid strategy might be for the campaign and the campaign metrics. So there's a couple of workflows in the suite, and the first one is the recommendation workflow, and it uses a variety of best practice thresholds to provide you with recommendations on when you can potentially switch to a target ROAS and maximize conversion value bid strategy. And then from there are follow-on workflows if you choose to use them that help you to monitor that change. We all know that changing to a different bid strategy can throw things, can make the campaign metrics a little bit variable. So we've just got some safeguards in place to help you monitor those and alert you if things go a bit wild. But as Sunny has said, I think that if you're thinking about moving to a smart bidding strategy, and if you're retail in that retail space, target ROAS and maximize conversion value are definitely the ones that you will probably want to strive for. Now is the time to be testing those out in your campaigns to get them ready and out of that learning period before you get into October, November, December, so you can really take advantage of the traffic that's coming through.
Thank you, Amanda. Yes, and do expect fluctuations, but we would rather have the fluctuations now in September than in the actual timing where people are actually shopping, and you want to be the one who actually are prepared rather than one who is still preparing when folks are actually buying and shopping and already spending. Because once you've missed that boat, unfortunately, then we'll have to wait for the next holiday season in 2022. So step 3 is more for advanced users. If you're already running a shopping campaigns, you might also look into separating a different strategy for what we call a smart shopping campaign for new customer acquisition. I won't go into that in details, but if you're interested in this particular strategy, feel free to reach out to Amanda and Shaun, and also myself afterwards as well. We can also talk a little bit deeper about this particular strategy. And the next one is also for advanced user. If you're also launching a YouTube campaign, we have also seen that like a branding and performance like shopping campaign works really well during the holiday period. So if you have like a true view for action or true view campaign, also think about like launching a true view for action campaign that combines with shopping. And last but not least, as Amanda just mentioned, on the bidding side, by now, by end of like September, like our machine learning would have already like been able to like finish the learning period, and we should be able to like adopt like fully the target ROAS and maximize conversion value bidding strategy to maximize your profit. So going on to like the peak period, which is October to December, what we need to do is like basically work with your customers to lock in the Q4 budgets and continue to challenge the ROAS targets based on the profitability. This is super important because, like as I mentioned, seasonality is still something that we're trying to predict. Things might change, things will still alter. So what we would suggest is that we will lock you to work with your customers to lock in the right budget and also like change the ROAS target based on the profitability. You might also want to check with your customers and understand which are the product SKUs that actually are yielding high profits and which are some of the product SKUs that actually yields very low profits, right? So based on these like profit margins, we can also shift the ROAS like a little bit. Like for high profit margin products, we might be able to cater for a lower target ROAS, but for low product margin products, we might be able to, we should actually move it to like a higher ROAS to make sure overall the profitability for your customer are still on the high side. What about on the PPC Samurai platform, Amanda?
Yeah, so as we get into November, December, October, November, December, we have, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the presentation as well, but just making sure that you're actively reviewing daily insights, getting email alerts, and just having that second set of eyes, which in this case, can be the PPC Samurai platform, looking at your accounts to make sure that things are running smoothly. So in addition to all the work I think that goes into, profitability and ROAS and making sure that you're capturing all of that opportunity, there's the background work to make sure that things are running smoothly, and your ad changeovers and all of your promotional activity is happening correctly, and that type of thing. So active monitoring is really important during this time period. So we'll go into that in a little bit more detail in later slides. But yeah, October through December is definitely that kind of make sure everything's running smoothly.
Awesome, yeah. And as we follow step 1 to 4, this will very much like provide us a very, very good like headroom and also like the pathway to a successful holiday season by like December. But don't forget about January, right? Like, so let's also make sure that we maintain the momentum, share that momentum and continuation with your customer, and have extra budgets and keep some of those the smart bidding automation that you have already been using, and continue that in the next quarter in like January throughout to March as well. So these are the 5 steps that we see to succeed in this upcoming holiday season.
Thanks, Sunny. I think that's a really good kind of framework for the next couple of months in terms of kind of setup and preparation. We know that a lot of clients, a lot of PPC Samurai users and their clients in the retail and e-com space have already started adopting a max conversion value and target ROAS strategy. So what would you recommend if they're kind of already using those? What would you recommend that they do to kind of further optimize there?
Yeah, well, thank you, Amanda. Well, first of all, my recommendation is that like don't switch it back to manual bidding. I know a lot of like customers actually do ask for that. Like their rationale is like, oh my God, this is all the stuff that you've presented, all the trends and insights means that like things are gonna change drastically. I want to have more control over everything. I want to make sure that like I'm changing my bids, my CPC, my CPA every single day, or or even like, every single hour to cater for that. So first of all, I would strongly recommend not using that, because like, first of all, like, resetting your current smart bidding adjustment will just like put back everything into like the back to this ground zero. That means like all the previous learnings and all the machine learning that has been accumulated over the months or weeks will be put to will be reset and will not be put into any usage. So first of all, like, my recommendation is not to switch back to manual bidding, even though like regardless of how strongly your customer is like pushing for that control. So what we can do in terms of like optimizing it, or like to answer for those like controls, is that, well, even with like automated bidding, like let's say target ROAS or maximize conversion value, there are still some controls that we can use. One control that we can use, as I talk about, is the target ROAS settings. So you can also change your target ROAS for accordingly for like, for different product categories. I discussed a little bit earlier, like for higher product margins, we always recommend a lower target ROAS, because we want more clicks, we want more transactions on these high product margin products. But for like lower product margins product SKUs, we can actually adjust the targets a little bit higher, the target ROAS a little bit higher, because like we want the all the clicks, all the transactions to favor the high product margin products, right? So there are 3 steps that you can do to optimize your current bidding strategy if you're already using one of the automated bidding smart strategy. First of all, like using some of the signals and hygiene checks that Amanda shared, review some of your past performance and see if everything's like working fine. Is that everything is like performing the right way that you want in your current accounts? And second of all, that's what I also discussed as well, as in like looking into the targets for different products for some of the anticipated changes in total transaction volume, product margins, and some of the historical conversion rates. If you have seen some of the products that have always been performing really well and you want to continue to sell them because these are high profit margin products, definitely look into adjusting your targets ROAS so that they are more appealing, or they would actually be more favored in the upcoming holiday season. And last but not least, continue to monitor performance over the period of time. We're talking about a very dynamic period of time. Things would happen, and we also want you and your customers to have more control. But the first thing you would love to be able to control or make the best or maximize the profit is to continue the monitoring of the performance. So I'm sure like the PPC Samurai team will be there. Like there are a lot of like different alerts and also workflows that allows you to be able to look into to able to like send you alerts and let you know what are some of the changing performance in the holiday season. So these will be the 3 steps that we'll do to optimize your current smart bidding strategies. So over to you, Amanda. Like, when it comes to, I know that you've worked with a lot of different retailers or like different customers over the period of time. What are your sort of your experience and also tips in allocating some of the holiday season budgets?
Thanks, Sunny. We have a couple of tips for what to do about budget when it gets a bit crazy. So the first is first couple are just around optimizing your bids and budgets. As we've said, I think prior to and getting set up and the planning is really important. And then obviously when you get in and during the peak period. So in advance, make sure you're using planning tools, any planning tools that are available to you, like the performance planner in your Google Ads account. Any recommendations that you can get around how you can improve what you're already doing. So things like optimization score in your account will help you to understand the relevant recommendations and the impact of those estimates, which is really important before you go in and implement it. So understanding how those recommendations are going to impact what you're already doing will be really important. PPC Samurai itself, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on this as well, but you can use budget monitoring and get that set up in advance to email you when your critical budgets reach, say, 80% of spend in a day, because you don't want to be running out of budget and money on, say, Black Friday. So getting emails to let you know when that budget has reached 80% so you can go in and top it up will be pretty critical to success on those really key days. And the other thing you can potentially do as well is consider using shared budgets in your Google Ads account. They will automatically allocate budget across campaigns when your campaigns have similar goals. So it helps to kind of keep those top performing campaigns with as much budget as possible, and deprioritizes any that may not be performing quite as well. We have just made a note here. We have seen some of our customers and within our own accounts as well. Notice if you do set up a shared budget, if you do see a misconfiguration error, that can be due to using different bid strategies within the same shared budget. So if you do see that, just go in and you can have a look at maybe setting up a portfolio bid strategy for campaigns with similar goals, and then you can go ahead and use the shared budgets effectively. So just a quick tip there, just keep an eye on those misconfiguration errors, especially if you're starting to dive more thoroughly into smart bidding, because it can cause some issues if you get into those shared budgets. Also, just a note on those shared budgets as well, that PPC Samurai budget functionality also works with shared budgets. So if you are using PPC Samurai to monitor your budgets and to pace your budgets, just make sure when you're setting up that budget that you go in and select the shared budget option and select the budget that you're wanting to monitor, and the system will do that for you. Another couple of tips as well. Make sure that you leave budget headroom. So like I said, on like a Black Friday, Cyber Weekend, you don't want to be running out of budget. So PPC Samurai can help you with that. If you set your budget monitoring at 80%, it will email you when you start to hit that upper limit. And if you start to hit that limit, say around 1 p.m., then you know that it's time to go in and top up. In terms of recommendations for what to allocate on those days and during kind of that peak period, recommendations from Google are to set at least a 30% or more budget headroom to make sure that you're capturing as much impression share as you can within your target. And for the really big event days like Black Friday, where you're expecting to see a significant increase, you can add an even higher budget headroom. So 500% if you're expecting a very, very, very big peak, or something in between. Just a note from us as well, and again, just based on some of our experience and our customers' experience with max conversions and max conversion value, if you do set quite a large budget headroom, just keep an eye on that spend throughout the day. Large budget increases when you're using those types of smart bidding strategies can sometimes allow the campaign to spend quite freely, and you just want to make sure that you're just keeping a close eye on that budget to make sure that it doesn't overrun too much. And again, if you have that budget monitoring set up in PPC Samurai, it will alert you to that instance as well. Always important for budget management as well, just evaluating your previous holiday period performance, making sure that you're looking at last year's data and taking into account the impression share loss due to rank and budget that you might have seen last year, and then kind of calculating what that might have looked like for a more full budget, especially impression share loss due to budget, and then potentially looking at expected increases on top of that this year. So just make sure you've got those impression share columns in your Google Ads account and you're monitoring them closely. PPC Samurai also has lost impression share workflows that will alert you when you can improve visibility. So it looks back over the past 3 days or whatever it is that you might have set up in the workflow, and we'll let you know of instances where you can potentially add more headroom. Also, just important as well when you're planning out your budgets to understand your competitive landscape. So just make sure that you're keeping a close eye on your Auction Insights report. Have a look at the report from last year, and also keep an eye on a close eye on it this year to get an idea of when your what your competitors are doing, and when they potentially start to scale up their spend. So keeping an eye on that will help to give you a bit of insight into when you might want to start increasing your budget as well. So how can you best use PPC Samurai during the holiday period? So like we've said, preparation is absolutely key. The beautiful thing about automation is that you can do the hard yards to set up and get started early, and then allow the platform to do a lot of the monitoring for you to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So in the lead up to November, December, so now and into October, get your account set up to monitor some of the key areas. So as I've said, budgets are one of those areas. So set up your budget targets and set alerts to email you when your budget is approaching daily and monthly limits. As PPC Samurai users know, these are customizable, so you can set that limit as is relevant to you. So if it's, say, 80% of your daily spend, you can get that email. You can also set that to 90% or say 60%. So that is very, very, it's a very handy function, especially during days like Black Friday, or when you have a promotion that goes over a weekend like Cyber Weekend. Another thing you can do, and we've found this quite valuable, is using your performance dashboard in PPC Samurai to track your key metrics and your budget pacing. So you can set this up with customized columns. So you can include your return on ad spend, your cost and your spend, impression share, and you can also pull in your budget pacing, which gives you kind of a one-stop view for your key metrics and allows you to make decisions really quickly. So that's something we really recommend setting up, and being able to pull in that budget pacing is really powerful in terms of giving you the information that you need kind of at a glance. In terms of setting up workflows and daily monitoring, so we have workflows that allow you to monitor your account to make sure it still has impressions. So, you don't want your account to go offline due to, say, billing issues or anything like that. So just making sure that you're setting that up to monitor that and get those alerts emailed to you if it does find anything. We've also got a couple of workflows that will allow you to sense check promotional ads and changeovers. So over the holiday period, there's oftentimes a lot of flux that happens within an account as promotions come and go. So just making sure that you've got a second set of eyes looking through your account to make sure that everything's gone smoothly. So we have a couple of workflows that will look for ad key terms in your ad text, like say Black Friday, and can check to make sure that those ads are paused after the event has happened. And if it finds that any are still live, can email those results to you. It can also check for labels as well, and to check that you have correctly labeled your accounts. So it's just that kind of, your ads. So it's just that second set of eyes across those promotional changeovers, because when you're doing them across multiple accounts on different days, it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. Those are built, but they are not currently global templates. So if you do want to use those, just get in touch with us, and we will copy them into your account. As we said earlier, just getting smart bidding ready. So using the suite of smart bidding workflows to receive recommendations for the campaigns that are eligible for a smart bidding strategy, and monitoring those outcomes. So just making sure that you're setting those up now to get ready for November and December. And just a couple more in the preparation side of things. Just making sure that you're setting things up now to sense check your account structure. So catching any issues that may cause limited visibility or lost sales. If you set them up to run daily, it will find things as you progress into November and December. So things like ad groups with no ads or no keywords, ad disapprovals or ads that may be approved limited, and just making sure that your ad groups have the best practice number of ads, 2 ETAs, 1 RSA. Again, those are customizable for you if you do prefer to have more or less of one or the other ad type. So again, with promotional changeovers, sometimes you can pause promotional ads and the regular BAU ads don't go live again, something like that. So again, just having that second set of eyes across the account. Finding negative keywords before they ruin your Christmas. So we have a workflow that will find negative keywords that are blocking any live keywords in your account. We find that these often are hiding on shared lists, you find a term here in this campaign, you think, oh, that's definitely not something I want to show in the account. Put it up on the shared list, and then actually ends up blocking something over here that you may have added at a later date. So just run that now to make sure that you find any of those little negative keywords, and then maybe just keep that running continuously through the holiday season as well as you're making changes to the account. We also have a workflow that allows you to stay on top of new search queries. So getting that set up now will help you to identify those really, really quickly as they start to pop up in the account. So with the expected spike in traffic volume and search queries, this can be really valuable and will help you to identify, say, potentially new Black Friday or Cyber Weekend search queries that you hadn't seen or hadn't accounted for, and just kind of stay on top of those search trends as they happen. So that's a really good one to have in place. And I've mentioned impression share before, but just setting up some workflows that will monitor your impression share and alert you when it falls below your threshold. So you can look at rank thresholds and also budget. So if there are, say, potentially brand campaigns that you want to have as high of an impression share as possible, you can set those up to alert you when it falls below, say, 95%, and the same for rank. So getting some of those set up will be valuable now for when we get into the crazy period. And then during the peak period, so now that you've got them all set up, now all you need to do is monitor. So making sure that in terms of your processes, checking your performance dashboard daily. So you've set up your performance dashboard, you've got it set up and bringing in your budget pacing. So just making sure that you're checking that daily in the mornings to make sure everything's on track. Check that budget pacing and taking action on that if you need to. Checking your insights as well. So you'll have your automatic insights as well as your workflows running. So just making sure that you're getting any of those critical alerts sorted out, and keeping an eye on your email, especially over the weekend for any of those workflow alerts as well.
Amanda, we've got a question come in. Can you help us set some of these things up? It's from an existing PPC Samurai user. Can you help us set some of these things up if we need some help?
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So feel free to get in touch with us if you need absolutely any help with any of this. We're more than happy to have a look at your account, see what you've got running, and then help you to implement some of the other ones. Yeah, absolutely. I know it was quite a big laundry list. So, and just the last slide here. Just a checklist. I'm not going to go, I've already gone through all of this, but this is just a checklist that if you want to, you can print out and just kind of check off the different recommendations. And it also includes the name of the global workflow itself, if you do want to implement any of those for critical alerts or anything like that. And that's the end of the content that we have for you today. I hope it was helpful. We do have a Q&A section. I know we've answered a couple of questions throughout the presentation, but I'll just pause for a moment in case there are any other questions that anybody has. Feel free to pop them into the Q&A section.
We've got one here. How do I get a copy of the webinar, please?
Yes, so we will be sending the recorded version and the presentation around to all of the attendees, and we had a number of signups from global regions that are currently sleeping, so we will be sending that around to them as well. So yes, we'll send this out shortly after the webinar. Excellent. So I think that's it for the questions. But if you do think of something afterwards, or if you're watching the recorded version, and you have some questions, always feel free to email us and reach out. We're always happy to help, and Sunny is available for questions as well. So. Thank you for those of you that attended today, and if you're watching the recorded version, thanks for watching the recording, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And hey, Sunny, a very big thank you to Sunny for putting all of the content together. Thank you. It was wonderful, and thanks, Shaun, for getting up early to attend.
Thank you so much.
All.
My pleasure. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.